Welcome to the True Guy Globe. Brief updates. Subscribe and press the bell icon for updates. The news broke like a sudden storm on a calm sea. A grainy video showed a tiny Filipino fishing boat, the Bangka ng Pag-asa, dwarfed by a Chinese naval destroyer in the West Philippine Sea. The usual stories from these waters were of conflict and intimidation, but this day was different. Instead of confrontation, a Chinese Navy officer saluted a lone Filipino fisherman. The world, used to tension and standoffs, was stunned. Was it a mistake, propaganda, or something more? The video showed Manglando, a weathered fisherman, standing firm as the officer raised his hand in a slow, deliberate salute. It was a gesture that cut through politics and posturing, a moment of respect between two men of the sea. Suddenly, the vast distance between their nations seemed to shrink. This was not just a news story. It was a testament to the quiet power of human dignity. Manglando, or Rolando Santos, was a fisherman from Zambales, not a politician or activist. He was an ordinary man, living a simple life shaped by the tides and the changing seasons. For over 40 years, the sea was his life, his family's livelihood, his heritage. Every morning before dawn, he would rise, ready his nets, and set out with hope, just as his father and grandfather had done before him. His small, brightly painted boat carried the hopes of his children and the weight of tradition. Each trip was a promise to provide, a silent vow to keep his family's legacy alive. The ocean was both provider and threat, but in recent years, Chinese ships had become the greatest danger. The waters he once knew so well had grown unpredictable, shadowed by foreign vessels. Friends had been chased away, nets cut, boats rammed. Stories of close calls and lost catches became common, and fear crept into the hearts of many fishermen. Still, Manglando refused to be intimidated. He faced the waves and the unknown with quiet determination, believing in his right to fish the waters of his ancestors. "This sea is our life," he would say. "We are just trying to live." His words echoed the sentiments of countless others who depended on the ocean for survival. Fishing in disputed waters was not a political act for him. It was survival. Each catch meant food on the table, school fees paid, and hope for a better future. On that fateful morning, with a poor catch near shore, he ventured further out, despite his wife's pleas. The horizon called to him, promising a better haul, but also greater risk. He was just a man with a net and a lifetime of experience, unaware he was about to become the center of an international story. The world would soon watch, but for Manglando, it was just another day at sea. His courage was born not of anger, but of love and responsibility. Every journey was for his family, for their future, and for the generations yet to come. Soon, his name would be known far beyond his village. Manglando's story would inspire many, reminding the world of the quiet bravery found in everyday lives. The day began like any other, with the gentle glow of sunrise painting the horizon and the rhythmic sound of waves lapping against Manglando's small wooden boat. The sea was calm, and hope filled the air as he cast his nets, just as he had done for decades. But soon, the peace was shattered as a massive shadow loomed over the water. A Chinese destroyer, gray and imposing, approached Manglando's humble vessel, dwarfing it in size and power. Suddenly, a loudspeaker blared across the waves, echoing with authority. "You are in Chinese waters! Leave immediately!" The command was sharp, reverberating through the morning stillness. Manglando's heart pounded in his chest, fear and uncertainty mixing inside him, but he stood his ground, gripping the worn edge of his boat with resolve. He knew he was in the West Philippine Sea, the waters his ancestors had fished for generations. His ancestral home, a place of memories and meaning. Leaving meant more than just abandoning his catch. It meant surrendering his heritage and failing his family's legacy. So he stayed, standing tall and unyielding in his boat. The destroyer's engines hummed with power. Its crew lined the rails, watching intently. The tension between the two vessels was thick, hanging in the salty air. On the bridge, Lieutenant Commander Li Wei peered through his binoculars, observing Manglando's quiet defiance and unwavering stance. In that moment, Li saw not an enemy, but a fellow man of the sea, someone who reminded him of his own grandfather, who had once fished the Chinese coast in a boat not unlike Manglando's. Something shifted inside the officer, a flicker of empathy and understanding breaking through the rigid lines of duty. He stepped onto the bridge wing and, to the shock and confusion of his crew, raised his hand in a crisp salute to the lone fisherman below. The gesture was not one of threat or intimidation, but a silent message of respect and recognition between two men of the sea. In that brief, silent exchange, two men, worlds apart in nationality and circumstance, found common ground, bound by the ocean and their shared humanity. The standoff ended not with force or violence, but with a simple, powerful salute, a gesture that spoke louder than words. The moment, fleeting yet profound, was captured on Mang Lando's battered phone, a memory of courage, respect, and the enduring spirit of those who call the sea their home. Mang Lando stared in disbelief. A salute from a Chinese Navy officer? He had braced for confrontation, not respect. The officer's gesture was clear acknowledgement, not aggression. Mang Lando, overwhelmed, responded with a simple wave. The destroyer circled, then quietly sailed away. Alone on the sea, Mang Lando tried to process what had happened. That evening, he shared the story and the video with his family and friends. At first, they doubted him, until they saw the footage. The grainy video showed the salute, and awe spread through the village. The story was real, and it was about to travel far beyond their shores. A simple act had changed the atmosphere of the sea. The world was about to take notice. Mang Lando's son, Marco, uploaded the video to social media with a simple caption, "My father stood his ground." A Chinese Navy officer saluted him. "There is still hope." The video went viral, shared millions of times. In the Philippines, Mang Lando became a symbol of courage and resilience. The hashtag #SaluteForPeace trended, and news outlets hailed him as a hero. The story crossed borders. International media picked it up, contrasting tense politics with this human moment. In China, the video sparked debate. Some criticized the officer, but many admired his honor. "He saw a man, not an enemy," one comment read. The gesture ignited conversations rarely heard in official circles. In the West, analysts saw a new lens for the conflict, not just power, but shared humanity. The video became a powerful counter-narrative. It showed that even in conflict, respect and understanding were possible. Two men, two nations, one moment of dignity. The world was watching. A week later, a letter arrived at the Philippine embassy in Beijing, carried with the utmost care among the day's diplomatic mail. Its arrival was unexpected, yet it carried a weight that would soon be felt far beyond the embassy walls. The sender was Lieutenant Commander Li Wei, the very officer who had offered a solemn salute to Mang Lando on the open sea, a gesture that had lingered in everyone's memory. The letter, written with humility and sincerity, was brought to Mang Lando's village, where the entire community gathered to hear its contents read aloud. "To the brave fisherman of the sea," the letter began, its words echoing through the small crowd. "I am the officer you saw that day, standing on the deck in uniform. I write not as a soldier, but as the grandson of a fisherman, someone who understands the hardships and hopes of those who live by the tides." Li described how, in Mang Lando's courage and resilience, he saw a reflection of his own grandfather, who had also braved the sea's dangers. "My salute was not political," he wrote, clarifying his intentions with heartfelt honesty. "It was a gesture of respect from one man of the sea to another, recognizing our shared struggles and dreams." The letter moved Mang Lando to tears, his weathered hands trembling as he listened, surrounded by friends and family. It confirmed the moment's true meaning, shared dignity and humanity, not just a fleeting gesture lost to the waves. The letter was soon published worldwide, its message of empathy and respect amplifying the story's impact across continents. It became a teaching tool in classrooms, sparking discussions among students about understanding and peace. The letter was also a topic in diplomatic circles, referenced in meetings and conferences as a symbol of hope. And it served as an inspiration for peace advocates, who saw in it a reminder that compassion can bridge even the deepest divides. Commander Li's words humanized both sides of the conflict, reminding the world that behind every uniform and every boat, there are people with families and stories. The letter, like the salute that inspired it, resonated across the globe. touching hearts in distant lands. Empathy had crossed borders where politics could not, forging a connection that no barrier could contain. The salute and the letter sparked powerful reactions in both countries. In the Philippines, Mang Lando became a folk hero, his story a symbol of dignity and hope. It inspired a national conversation about true patriotism, quiet courage over aggression. In China, online debates flourished. Some called Li a traitor, but many saw him as honorable. The story cracked open official narratives, humanizing the enemy. Diplomats referenced the incident as a model for de-escalation. It reminded all sides that these conflicts are about real people, not just maps. In fishing villages, hope grew that not every encounter had to be hostile. The story didn't erase the conflict, but it painted it in new colors. It showed that the lines on maps need not be walls between hearts. The story reached international peace organizations, and Mang Lando was invited to speak at a global forum in Geneva. At first, he was hesitant. He was a fisherman, not a speaker. His village rallied around him, helping him prepare and encouraging him to share his truth. On stage, Mang Lando spoke simply, in Tagalog, about the sea, his family, and the day of the salute. When the officer saluted me, he was not saluting an enemy, he was saluting a fisherman. Respect is a language everyone understands. It costs nothing, but it is worth everything. He spoke of the letter and how it proved peace was a choice, even in conflict. His honest words captivated the audience. Diplomats and activists listened, moved by his humility and clarity. Mang Lando's story transcended politics. It became a call for empathy and respect. The fisherman's voice echoed far beyond the hall. The world listened. Mang Lando's speech ended with a simple plea. If a fisherman and a soldier can see each other's humanity, so can nations. The hall erupted in a standing ovation. His story became legend among South China Sea fishing communities, inspiring small acts of kindness at sea. The Lando salute became a symbol of hope and dignity. The story entered school curricula and peace studies worldwide. It taught that history is shaped not just by leaders, but by ordinary people's courage. Dignity, Mang Lando showed, is a shield that cannot be broken. Today, the South China Sea remains tense, but hope endures. Mang Lando still fishes, his boat a symbol of resilience. Commander Li continues his service, forever changed. Their story reminds us, peace is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of connection.